Hello, everybody. It is I, Duran D. Train Brown, here in another kind of format. I'm here on a podcast with Edgar Jimenez. This is District 2 Rep here representing out of Orlando, MCO. And one of the pressing events that I'm sure everybody's been talking about, been seeing it on Voices of Triple Nickel and a few other places on Facebook and other socials, is about the loss of fourth jump seat for us who are not flight attendants or pilots. Edgar, what's your thoughts on it?
What's up, my brother? How you doing? How you
First,
been?
oh yeah, how you doing, my man?
Good, good. So yeah, how can I start? So yesterday, by the way,
Hmm.
watching the Puerto Rico game, and I get this text message from an ops agent in Orlando, and he sends me like a screenshot of like the SWAT life where it had the posts, right, the jump seat posts,
Hmm.
and I read it. He was upset. And there was this deadline about April 1st. No more jump seat for us. And it was now only for flight attendants and pilots. And then after that, um, I decided to see, okay, let me, see if 556 has something to say about this. And they did. They did, have a post. And again, I'm just talking to you from rampaging that I am out of Orlando. This has nothing to do with my union leadership the title that I hold. This is just me and you and the members just having a good conversation.
Hmm.
And, I was disappointed. I knew it was going to start some type of animosity between, our members and their members. We've heard today, right? Ops agents coming down and saying, we have this friction now
Yeah,
because
there's
of
such
this
a
new
tension in the air.
tension, right? Tensions in the air. But yeah, I didn't agree. I think it could have been worded differently. One side, the side of the company, it was like this. We decided to make this change because of um, these reasons. The other side was like, we've been negotiating this. We finally, had the company pretty much cave in and give us what we wanted, what we've been fighting for. And I knew from the jump, the way I found out through another member, I didn't know nothing about it. I was like, what is this? And then the calls started coming in, the text messages. Man, what the fuck? What's this? What's that? And I understand. I can understand the members. I fly fourth. I got family in Puerto Rico. San Juan and Orlando flights, them, they're always full.
Hmm.
Uh, Riding fourth is my escape, my last
Yeah, we don't sit there and be
option.
like, "Ooh, I'm ready to ride fourth." It's like, dang, well, we got to do it.
Exactly. But yeah, that's how I was informed, by the way.
Yeah, for me, I saw it on social media just like you and everybody else. Um, I felt the messaging was definitely how it came across. It felt cold. It felt like it wasn't recognizing that this is something that we all have used and we all have looked upon as our last resort and been a great benefit for us. And just for it to be in very short time to be taken away is something that I felt like even if it was going to happen, it was going to happen. Probably nothing that we can do about those instances, but probably worded a little bit better or it came across a little bit better. And a question we'll ask you probably was later: Did any of y'all know anything? But I'll get to that a little bit later. So I talked to a few flight attendants. I got 20 years being with the company, and I know a few around here. And a few of the concerns that I've been hearing, or the reasons why this probably was happening, was one was for them to have more open ways to commute. Another reason was because this is not it's a trained position to be at jump seat. That's the other big thing they were saying. And they saying if anything or to protocol need to be going on, they saying it's best to have people who are trained in that spot for that position. And another thing that I was hearing was behavior of people who were non-FA and their behavior at times at being jump seat, either not complying or doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing.
We understand that this is a privilege that the company gives us. Very grateful that we're able to fly, let alone fly jump seat as well as a last resource. It's been a practice. It's been for many years. I don't know exactly. I know that the rumors are, or allegedly, there's this new policy, this new training thing, which okay, I understand. But logically, right? I'm sure you've sat in the exit row, correct?
Yeah.
And the flight attendant tells you, "Are you willing to help?" or whatever. We say yes. So I mean, I guess I got to look into this training and what this entails. But what I guess what better person to have now? Like if the jump seat is empty now, right? Let's just say nobody's commuting, but what better person to have of another ramp agent or another any Southwest worker to be in that jump seat just in case an emergency happens, right? Let's just say there's a flight that's full and nobody's commuting. And there's just this ramp agent coming home back from vacation. What better person to have extra on that plane that's gonna assist you, you know?
Yeah.
And then I also been hearing it from, believe it or not, even management, have 11 cities that I oversee. And managers have been, also hitting me up saying, you know, I took this job, in this big city or this city so I could get experience, so I could go back to my city and pretty much, get a MRO position or GM position. Southwest requires me to go to this big city and I'm commuting, back and forth. And I use jumpsuit. So it's not just like, union and union friction. It's like everybody has some type of issue with
Yeah,
this.
everybody's being affected. It ain't just us rampers. It's everybody getting hit with this.
Not just it's just not our local, is every local plus managers. And then for our members, I've been getting calls of members saying, I'm in this custody battle and I'm trying to work it out where I'm visiting my kid and sometimes, I use the fourth. And there's just a lot of examples of why people need the fourth, right? And I like to call it jump seat for all, right? Because that's what it should be. It should be for all. It's been a long-standing practice. And yes, if it is true that there's some training that somebody requires, I understand that point, if it's above us, right? Let's just say the
Yeah,
government is requiring this, right? But yeah, man, it is disheartening to see this go away in a time where you have how many years with the company?
I got 20 years.
20 years. And I would say that in your last 5 years of your 20 years, this company has changed the most, correct? Is that fair to
Yes.
say?
Hmm.
So it is another, I guess, slap in the face from I'll be honest with you, from two sides, right? I don't know. I mean, that's just how I feel personally. This is me. If you ask me, Edgar the Ramp Agent, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, brother, that's
I,
that's
I guess the follow up to that, and I guess I already know the answer. Can we grieve it? Because that's the other big thing that was out there. Like, can we grieve this, y'all? This ain't right. I mean, it definitely
yeah.
feel it ain't right.
Yeah, I've been getting those questions too. Obviously, we can't. It just sucks, man. It really does suck, and that makes me think, right? When it comes to quality of life, right? When we talk as union members, how do we obtain quality of life, right? How do we control, working for a corporation and having these specific rights that make it easier for us, right? To work for this company. A lot of that, brother, is obtainable through negotiations.
Yeah.
In order to get quality of life, you gotta get good language that supports that quality of life. And again, just speaking for myself, I think that in next contract negotiations, we should focus on that. The money's gonna come, right? Everybody wants a good raise. I mean, especially in today's economy, right? The gas prices up and down.
Yeah.
Life is expensive overall.
Very.
Um, the money's gonna come. But what we need to do is focus on, quality of life. And one thing that I do is, I got the Go book here and I got this specific Go book and I just had been going page by page of things that gotta change or get better or be removed or get added. But we need to work. We need to work on our language. Props to everybody from the past. It's
Mm.
been a long fight. We just gotta make it better. And somebody like myself, when I got elected to my role, I looked in that room, D Train, and I was the youngest dude in that room. And I was
Right.
telling my union brothers and sisters, like, I'm doing 30 to life. Oh, I got another 30 years with this company. So I hope that in the future we could really fix certain issues in the contract that's going to bring us a better quality of life.
Well, I got one more that was quite pressing before this became the talk of the week for our union, the positions and the tier system. What I was seeing around, people were saying like, "Oh, this is," being somewhat upset about seeing the tiers and seeing the positions, feeling like that the union was actually losing by doing this or anything like that. What's your stance on that?
Well, I would say that a lot of times, reaching out to your rep, your district rep, is a good way to understand certain decisions, certain settlements. I would say that, and this is just me talking, is that when you have faulty language in the contract, and in this case, I felt like that paragraph wasn't as strong. You're gonna come up with unfortunately limited settlements, right? I think that how we combat that is in negotiations. I think that, we hear what the members want. We
Hmm.
hear what the members care is most important. And I think next time, we should, revisit that article and fight for what we really want. I mean, the way I fight, man, and the way I look at it is, I'm still rampaging. I feel that if I have to obviously go back to the ramp, what would I want to see? But that being said, yeah, I get it. And my recommendation is reach out to your rep, or even better, reach out to your district rep and ask some questions, ask some tough questions. And I think that we have membership meetings. I mean, you've seen them posted, you've
Hmm.
posted them for me so people could attend. That's a great platform that individuals have set so that we could voice our opinion and ask the tough questions. I'll speak for myself. My phone number is out there. I answer questions all the time. I pick up the phone all the time. Call me and let's discuss. And like I said in my article that I wrote, no, I don't always agree with the board, but when we collectively come with one decision in the room, we collectively need to be a team, and whatever decision is made, stand by it, right? And support it. But I've been super open. If you guys want to like pick my brain of how I feel, I've been super open. I've told you guys how I vote. I've told you guys, how I feel about things. I'm never going to talk bad about anybody, but yeah, man, the avenue for you to come in and pick my brain is there. The door is open.
Hmm.
So contact me if you feel any certain type of way. And I will say specifically, in my district, right? If you're in my district, District 2,
Yeah.
I'm always available, brother.
All right. So pretty
Either.
much for the positions, it's the language wasn't fully detailed, and now we have something a little bit more detailed than we had before.
Exactly.
Even though it's got the tiers, and I guess from other stations or smaller stations, they feel like it will be somewhat less than. Do we have better details for our positions than we had before?
I think so. And once again, it could be better. And I think that when we go to the negotiating table, I think that, we should clarify that.
Hmm.
I've had cities where, they just had the word Gates. I mean, Orlando was one of them. And I wanted people
Yeah,
to
we
know
were.
that they were going to be a lead, rover, or assist. So I think that's good, but it could be better. Um, it could be better. It's just that, there's certain things that honestly, if we had the language, I think we would have ended up in a better place. But that's again, that's just my opinion. But that's a good question, B Train. It's a tough
Hmm.
one, but these are the questions again that should be being answered.
No, and I greatly appreciate you answering that. One of the reasons why I did the start of TikTok and getting more social and doing the videos, and I've been doing this for years at a time, is so we can get more involvement with our membership, more knowledge of people that would know what's going on. Because there's a lot of things going on, but it seems for a long time it was like information silos. Like only a certain amount of people knew about what was going on or knew the information. Now we have so many ways and so many avenues to get this out there. I can say I have no problem saying it from a person that had some reservations before. When I look at our webpage for our TWU, I'm seeing tons of more information out there. We can get our lunch charts. We can see the PDFs. We can see arbitration. See a lot of things that seemed like it was more hidden in our old webpage. So I'm seeing this out there. I'm hoping that more people see these things that's going out there. I'm going to definitely do my part. And yeah, I appreciate your time with doing this right now, man.
It's been a very interesting 2 years of learning so much and how things play out. I call it, it's like you're playing chess. And sometimes, we're playing checkers, right? And that's the wrong thing to do, right? We can't play checkers. We got to play chess.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I hope that everybody, not just for our local, right? Because we're doing this for all unions, right? We're just using our local as an example. We are pushing, other members and different unions to just be involved in the union because in today's America, unions are totally under attack. You know, we're being tossed around.
Hmm.
Bills are trying to be passed so they could just crack us. And one thing I say to myself is I'm so I'm so grateful that I work for my company, but I'm even more grateful that I have a union. And especially a union that did not start the other day. It's so hard to build that union foundation from the ground up. And we're
So right.
lucky that we've had many other members who stood up, raised their hand, and took the challenge of being a board member or any type of leadership role, which is a
Hmm.
rep or alternate rep, whatever, safety rep.
Yeah.
And they set the foundation for us to continue. Every contract gets better.
Hmm.
Every contract needs work. But I'm really happy to say that we got the foundation. All we need to do is just better what we got, improve what we got, and stop the inside fighting. Leave that for management. Let them continue fighting. We have a common goal here, right? And it's to defeat corporate greed.
Yeah.
And we need to understand that. Um, and we need to come together. But again, that means what? Being more involved in your union,
Hmm.
not waiting for the union to do something for you, but you going ahead and participating,
Yeah.
whether it's voting, whether it's, you know, attending union meetings,
Yeah.
J-line meetings, right?
For me, I look at it like I don't expect everybody to have the passion and the care that me or you or a lot of members have, but just to know that this is our livelihood, this is how we pay our bills, this is how we survive out here. I started this job at 21 years old. Didn't know much of anything, was just a bouncer downtown, having a good time. And the more years I was lucky enough to be here, the more important I saw how this job was, and the more I understood how important to have the right to collective bargain is. So if we have issues with union members and stuff like that, trust me, I'm a guy who spoke up and spoke out about a union rep maybe doing this or have an issue. I have been that person that speak out and speak out. I mean, speak up and speak out, and we have that right to do that. But we should all want, no matter who we have in there, to have that right to collective bargain in there. And I hopefully with us doing more videos, doing more TikToks, doing more outings, doing more everything, that we get more involvement of everybody. Because it ain't just the members that actually on the board. It's not just your reps who are doing this locally. The power, it may sound corny, is from Captain Planet, but the power is yours. The power is all of us. That's how we sit there and actually get something done. Strength is always in numbers.
And to add to that, I look at, I follow the MCO, TWU, or 555 TikTok, and I see that you're at, one of your videos was 10K. I see you out there trying, and I appreciate that because you're right. Imagine if we all said, fuck it, they win the company, and we, just let them do what they did or what they do, which they're union busting, right? Right now. Where will we be? And then the other thing is if we together, sometimes we got to realize that we have the same, I guess, goal. We just have different policies of how to obtain that goal.
Mhm.
And if we could just put aside our indifferences and say, okay, I see that you want the same thing as I do, just you're trying to obtain it in a different way. Maybe we together could come together and work on that. Nobody's perfect. I say that this is not a quick race. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. If you think that you're going to wake up one day and the company is going to be this perfect thing, you're absolutely wrong.
No.
The company, and as America goes by the years, it's going to get tougher because they want to completely eliminate unions. There is no company out there that praises unions, right?
None.
They might, but they like some might just say, okay, they're there, the union is there, here we go, let's just put up with them. But they don't support us, right? They
No.
don't want us there. You see AI is coming and the company sees, oh, take this position away and put a robot to do it
Mhm.
or this computer thing. So, like there was this thing about Bebop, right? This whole thing about Bebop. And I'll give you my personal way of thinking when it came to like Bebop, for example. To me, I saw it as an extra job duty, job protection, right? Another job duty that's going to or a job that's gonna keep me working,
Yeah.
keep me employed. So I'm gonna take that, right?
Mhm.
Nobody else wants to do it. We should be doing it, right?
And
And
I
there was
greatly
this
ap
whole
and I
infight.
greatly appreciate bebop. Trust me, I like the bibbidi boppity boo all around here.
Yeah, and I tell you, as you get older, D Train, you're not the same guy 20 years ago, right?
No,
Physically, right?
no.
I mean, and we want these jobs that, in my opinion, senior agents have been giving it all for this company. They've given their backs, they've given their shoulders, they've had the surgeries, so they could continue having a good paying job,
Yeah.
maybe in a position that's less physical.
Mhm.
We all know that being in the bin, I don't care what the company says, what position to lift a bag or stack a bag.
Yeah.
The human body is not made to do that,
You
right? The
know, fun
human body
fact,
is not made.
very fun fact. So I've been out for my back a number of times, just like I'm sure probably sadly a few people who's gonna probably sit there and watch this. If you ever go to physical therapy, like I have before, and I show the physical therapist exactly what we do for our job, there is no real safe way to sit there and actually do it. And if you actually look at any of us doing recurrent training, they never will show us actually loading and lifting bags inside the bin because there is no real safe way to sit there and do it, ladies and gentlemen.
I agree. I agree. And that's something that, you know, that's why when we're in the negotiating table, we got to come together and participate and vote because, you know, that's that's our reward, right? Is hey, we're willing to keep America moving, right? Because we're in the transport world.
Mhm.
Just give me what I'm worth, right? Give me
That's
the
it.
benefits. That's it.
We one of the
You look at
richest countries in the world. We just want our fair share. We should not be struggling. Nobody should be living paycheck to paycheck. We had moments in this country where it was a good thing to be a union having a union paying job. I watch old movies with my mom and it will be in black and white and like my son got a good union paying job. We had a former president, Ronald Reagan, who was a president of union. So to sit there and look at it as almost like a four-letter word or a bad thing is almost like they almost convinced us to go against our best interests.
it's sad what's going on in Florida right now with the union busting. It's sad that even our own airport that we work in, they're charging $500 if you lose a badge. And that to me, when I speak to these politicians or, I speak to these other union leaders, I'm like, man, that's crippling. And yeah, maybe a tap out Southwest agent is able to say, you know what, let me work these couple shifts. But how about those workers in the airport that are non-unionized
Yeah.
that pay bare minimum and they lose a badge once in their career and they're paying $500 or lose a key or two and now they're paying 1,000 because the keys are 500 and don't get me wrong, I understand security. I know that's the main focus for this airport to keep the customers, the American people, to keep their workers in the airport
Hmm.
safe. But at what point do we be realistic and say, you know what? Maybe 500 was a little too out of hand, maybe 250, right? Or maybe the first time you lose it is 100, the second time is 2, and then the last time is 5.
Yeah, some
That
type of
all I just
negotiation,
went
some type of understanding that people don't have 500 just to give up at any time.
exactly. And especially and even the ones that are tapped out. I mean, we're living in a time where inflation and all these different things are just, crippling us. Like I told you from the beginning, whether we're fighting grievances, whether we're fighting politicians, whether we're fighting the airport, we need to stand together because if we don't stand together, man, and they see us inside fighting, they're gonna be, oh, even better. You think that rich person, that CEO from the Goa airport, is struggling to pay their mortgage? Absolutely not. You think you think they understand because now they're in this different bracket and now they're wealthy and rich. You think they understand paying $500 what it does to a single mom? Think about that. A young kid that just moved to the state and is trying to like, make it because truth be told, we're not in the 80s and the 70s where you could afford to buy a house, right? If you look at, the statistics now, every year that passes, it's like it's another year added to a person buying a house. Back in the day, people used to buy a house
Yeah,
when they were in their 20s. Now people
yeah,
are buying houses in their 30s, late 30s,
yeah, yeah. I think the
because
average age is
they
almost
just
40, like the age I got it. Yeah.
one thing that people need to understand is unions are our last lifeline to preserve the middle class. That's that to me is unions are the last thing that is standing with us to help us live a good life and retire in a decent age, correct? 'Cause we don't want to work for the rest of our lives.